3 days after arriving in Money, Mississippi on August 24th, 1955, Emmett Till and a group of teenagers entered the Bryant Grocery and Meat Market to buy refreshments after a long day of picking cotton in the hot afternoon sun. What exactly transpired inside the grocery store that afternoon will never be known. Till purchased gum, and in later accounts he was accused of either whistling at, flirting, or touching the hand of the store's white female clerk, the wife of the owner, Carolyn Bryant. 4 days later, at approximately 2:30 a.m. on August 28, 1955, Roy Bryant, Carolyn's husband, and his half-brother, J.W. Milam, kidnapped Till from Moses Wright's home. They then beat the teenager brutally, dragged him to the bank of the Tallahatchie River, and they shot him in the head, tied him with barbed wire, and a large metal fan was attached to him, and they shoved his mutilated body into the water. Moses Wright reported Till's disappearance to the local authorities, and 3 days later his corpse was pulled out of the river. Till's face was mutilated beyond recognition, and Wright only managed to positively identify him by the ring that was on his finger engraved with his father's initials. Today's somber adventure will take us to the locations of the major events in the Emmett Till tragedy. Come along with me. Well, we're in Money, Mississippi, and this is where this saga with Emmett Till started. You see, this is kind of the main street in Money. There's nothing really left of it. But at one time, this entire area was full of stores that ran down here, and you can see where an old gas station stood right here. It's actually in pretty good shape. But this is the location of Bryant Grocery. And this is where Emmett Till in 1955, in August 1955, came down here with some other black youths. Some of them may have been grown, I don't know, but I think most of them were young, and walked into this store, bought a few things, and at some point whistled at the lady that owned it, Miss Bryant, and that's what started this whole thing. Somebody ended up telling her husband about it, who was Roy Bryant, and this is where it all began, right here at this location. Now, Emmett was staying over in this direction with an uncle of his named Moses Wright, who was a Baptist preacher, and they came over here to get some candy and some soda, and then the confrontation with Miss Bryant happened. She made it out that it was even more than that he had actually grabbed her, but she has since recanted all that and said that basically all they did was whistle at her. And believe it or not, she's still alive. She's about the only one from this whole fiasco that is still alive, and she lives somewhere fairly proximal to here. I think it's in Greenwood or either Grenada, one of those towns. This is where it all got started. This was the thing that got the civil rights movement of the late 50s going and motivated, and rightfully so. Now, what Emmett and his friends left the Bryant Grocery and Meat Market, they drove down this road going back to Moses Wright's house where he was staying. Now, this is the location of the old Moses Wright house. The house that's there currently is not the same house, but it's built on exactly the same location. And in some of the pictures, you can actually see some of these same trees. But this is where Emmett Till was staying that night when they came and actually yanked him out of bed and took him and murdered him. This is the location they got him from. Now, this is where Moses Wright, where his church was. It's fallen in now, and but this is the location of where his church was. And the cemetery is just right over here. It's a little ways down, but this is where they had Emmett Till's grave already dug, and were about to bury him even without embalming him in this location here where these gravestones are. And his mother decided to have him embalmed in Tutwiler and to send him back to Chicago to be buried. So they actually had the grave partially dug, and were going to bury him that afternoon, and didn't do it. So this is the location of where that would have been. Now, this is the area of downtown Tutwiler, Mississippi. And if you look, I mean, it's right across, we're right across the street from the police department. This is a little bitty town. But this building right here is where the old Tutwiler Funeral Home used to exist. And this is where they brought the body of Emmett Till to be embalmed. This is where he was taken after they decided to ship him back to Chicago and have his funeral up there and have him buried up there. Well, this is where that happened. Okay, we're in Drew, Mississippi, and we're on a road that is called Drew Ruleville Road. And this is where they took Emmett that night, in the middle of the night, to the barn down here that we're gonna go past, and that's where they murdered him, is right down here in this barn. Well, just think about it. I mean, this is the road that those group of people took him on to kill him. So now this is the barn that Emmett Till was killed in. I'll stop and try to zoom in on it for you. That's it right there. And that's where they took him and killed him. I don't want to drive in there because this guy is this is on private property, and I just don't want to disturb him. If I saw him out there, I think I'd try to go see if I could film inside of it. This is outside of Drew, Mississippi, and boy, there's quite the roads to get to it, and it's not marked very well. It's just really hard to get to. But this is where this is one of the relatives. He lived on this location, one of the relatives of the Milam guy that killed Emmett. And so This is where it all took place at. I'm in Glendora, Mississippi right now, and this is the cotton gin that after killing Emmett, they went and got an old fan out of here that they used for ginning cotton that weighed like 70 pounds, and they took that and attached it with barbed wire to the 14-year-old Emmett's body, and then threw him in the Tallahatchie River. Quite a sad thing to think about. Now, we're still in Glendora, and matter of fact, you can see the old cotton gin right there where they got the fan at. But right next to it is the old home site of J.W. Milam, who he's one of the guys that, with Roy Bryant, actually killed Emmett. And this is where the site stood of their house, and they actually burned Emmett's clothes back behind the house. So right behind that area that you see where that little slab is it's where the house stood. They actually forced some of the employees that worked for J.W. Milam, they were black employees, to wash out the bloody truck here, and then admitted to burning the clothes right here. Well, that's the trip around the Mississippi Delta that shows you the locations of the Emmett Till murder and the things that were related to it. Thanks for watching.